your file will be ready to submit for this assignment. So there's no lecture assignment to submit today, but the lecture is the assignment. It's very technical. There's a lot of very specific settings. So I'm going to go kind of slow to make sure that I give a chance for everybody to follow along. But please stay focused because my goal is to get this done by the end of the period. Okay, so we're going to begin as we always do, clicking on our new basic template here. So this is our regular class template. If for some reason you have misplaced your template or you've changed settings on your template, you can go to School Loop, you can go to the locker, and we're just modifying this file here. So download that file. And if you already have this file. I hope you already have this file. Everyone should already have this file. This is more if you're following along with this lecture at home. That's where you download the file if you haven't already done so. Secondly, today's assignment, if you are following along this video from home, it's the millimeter template. And I have a PDF here that shows us what we're going to be creating. So this is going to be our new template minus all of these notes and screenshots here. But we're just going to have a nice border, and then we're going to have our names at the bottom, title of our document, date, and scale. So let's go through how we do that. Step one is to resize our grid. So from our last class period, who can tell me how we limits? Very good. I'm proud of you. All right, so I've typed in limits. Now it's asking me to specify our lower left corner. What do we always use? 0, 0. Excellent. So you guys are paying attention. All right, I'll hit enter there, and now we're going to do our upper left-hand corner. So our width is going to be 250. And again, this is our original template, which just had units. We didn't have feet or inches, so all you have to do is type 250. And you can either hit tab or comma. So I'll just hit tab to go over my other side here. 250. 250. And then I'm going to do a comma here. And then our height is 180. So 250 by 180. You shouldn't have feet or inches because our units should just be set to decimal here. So if your units doesn't say decimal, then you've already done something wrong. Oh.
My grid went away.
Yeah, so your grid will go away. That's normal. All right, so please stay with me here. We've only done one thing so far. We've entered in our limits.
250 by what, 180?
Our first was 0, 0, and then it was 250 by 180. That's all we've done so far. Limits, 0, 0, 250 by 180. You two in the back, you able to follow along okay? Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it at all. Okay. All right, is everybody with me so far? Beautiful. All right, so next thing we need to do is we need to modify the spacing of our grid lines. And we do that by clicking our little down arrow here on our snap mode. And we're just going to go to snap settings. And it says 0.1 for both of these. We're going to change this snap spacing to be 2 by 2. And if you enter in a number on the top, it just automatically punches it in the bottom for you. And the same with our grid spacing, 2 by 2. And then our major line should be set to 5, which is our default setting.
Okay, so you turn the computer on.
So I'll leave this up for a moment. Again, this was our drawing settings, which we got to by either right-clicking or clicking the little arrow on our grid snap. Brought up this drawing settings here. And it's just 2 by 2 for your snap spacing and 2 by 2 for your grid spacing. Major line every 5 units. And now you just hit OK. And now you should start to see something. So
Yeah, I don't see the green and red.
that might be all right. But you don't need to see the green and the red. But do you see your grid lines?
Yeah.
Okay. And if I want to zoom out to my entire grid, who can remember the command for that? Zoom. So we go Z, enter. And E might work in this case. Yeah. E normally takes you to the limits of whatever you've drawn. So if I just draw a little circle here, and I go Z and E, it's going to zoom me into that circle because that's all I've drawn. But in this case, since we have nothing drawn at all, Z and E would work, but Z and A actually takes you to your grid, shows you everything on your grid. All right, we're doing well so far. All right, next thing we want to do is adjust our dim style, because say we start to draw something and I go to dimension it. Again, we've got our things here way too small. So how do we adjust our dim style? Shortcut for that? D, very good. D and enter. D and enter brings you into your dim style. We're going to modify the class style. And okay, everybody here?
Yeah.
Beautiful. We're going to start by going to lines, our lines tab at the top. It's the far left. And our baseline spacing, we're going to set to 3. And then the extend beyond dim lines and offset from origin, we're going to set to 2 on both of those. So we've got 3 for our baseline spacing, 2 for our extend beyond dim lines, and 2 for our offset from origin. I'll go over here. All right. Now our next one, we're just going to go over to our symbol and arrows tab. Is everyone done with this tab? Yes. Beautiful. Symbol and arrows, we're going to change our arrow size to 3. So arrow size to 3. A what? I got these for a client, so I got them a pretty good deal. Like $300 or so. Yeah. It's pretty nice, huh? All right, then we're just going to go. We just have one more modification to make on our dim style, and that's the text height. So I'm here in my text tab, and our text height, we're going to change that to 3. So again, this is going to be our millimeter template. So everything that we're punching in here is in millimeters. So our text will be 3 millimeters tall. That's it. So I'm going to hit OK here and close our dim style. And that one dimension that I put in here as a sample here looks pretty good. So I'm going to take that and just delete it. Start off with the slate. Go over that another time. All right. Now, one other setting change that we need to make, which is something that we haven't worked with yet in class. But whenever I have text and I point to something, that's called a multi-leader. And we need to adjust our multi-leader style for this template as well. And the command for that is just mleader style. And I'm going to leave that command up on the board here so everyone can see it. It's the letter M, leader, L-E-A-D-E-R, style, S-T-Y-L-E. It should come up. All right, M leader style. And just as we did with our dim style, this is very similar. We're just going to click modify. And our M leader style, we're going to start with our first tab here, which is a leader format. And the arrowhead size, we will make 3. Oops. And the leader break should also be 3. So just in the 2 entry boxes there, we're punching in a value of 3 for both of those, so 3 millimeters. And then for our leader structure, our landing distance, I'll also set to 3. It's the only thing that we're modifying there. So we're putting 3 for all the values so far. So the first tab, we've done our arrowhead size 3. We've done our leader break for 3. I'm going over to our next tab. And our landing distance, I'm setting to 3. And on our last tab here, the content tab, we are adjusting the text height and landing gap also to 3. And the gap also to 3. Yep. Okay, that's it there. Yep. All right, now we're going to start actually drawing our template. And we're going to start by creating a new layer. And we're going to do that by going to our layers property is the best way to do it here. So this is going to bring up a nice big window for us. And these are all the layers that we've been working with so far. You can see we've got our center layer, dim layer, hidden layer, object layer, all layers that we've worked with before. We're going to create a new layer. And we do that just by hitting this button right up here. It says new layer. See where my mouse is right here. So we're going to click there. And we're going to call this border. And I like to use all caps, but you can do what you like. So border. We're going to make it white. So if yours doesn't say white, click on your color here and just click on a white box, hit OK. That makes that white. Our line type is going to be continuous, and our line weight we're going to change on our border to be a little thicker. So we're going to go 0.3 millimeters. So I'll leave that up for a second. So just 0.3 and 0.30 is the same number, 0.3.
Okay.
It is listed as 0.30 if that helps. All right, everybody with me? All right. So we're done with this for the moment, so we'll close that, and then I'm just going to select my border layer. And we're going to start by drawing a rectangle. So REC for rectangle. Our first point is going to be our lower left-hand corner. And the easiest way to specify that is the coordinates, which is 0 and 0. So I'm just going 0, tab 0.
But I can't see the green and red line.
That's okay. Don't worry about that. And then I'm going to draw my first rectangle here, which is 250 by, what did we say, 180? And if you've done this correctly, your border line should go perfectly around your grid. Now, looking at our assignment, the next thing we're at is we're going to draw these little boxes here along the bottom. So we're going to do another rectangle here. And with your object snap-on, you should be able to click on your endpoint here in your lower left-hand corner. And your first box is going to be 75 millimeters wide by 10 millimeters tall. So I'm just 75 by 10. Clicking enter. Next one is 100 by 10. So the first one is 75 by 10. The next one is 100 by 10. Our next one is 37.5 by 10. 100. 10, they're all by 10 tall. And then this next one is the same, 37 by 10. 37.5 by 10. So you should have this first one, which is 75 millimeters wide. The next one is 100. The next one, or the next two, are both 37.5 each.
Is there like a magnet at the back where you can do this box? Just click on it. This box. There's like on top here. You know, it's like dimensional.
Oh, the dimensional?
No, it's you know, in Mac there's like it says dimension over here, and then there's something else too.
Yeah, a draw, I think is what it is. But no, that won't help you much. Okay, so next thing we want to do, looking at our drawing here, is, if I can zoom in here, we've got these little labels in each corner here, and each label is offset 2 by 2. So we're going to go to CAD here, and I'm just going to draw a little scaffolding here. So I'm going to do a rectangle. I'm going to click on this corner right here. I'll zoom in so you can see this a little bit better. And I'm going to go 2, because I want to go 2 across, but I want to go down 2, not up. So I have to go -2 down. So 2 by -2. And that's going to give me our perfect scaffolding here to punch in our text. So now I'm going to go into my text layer. And I'm going to run our dtext command. And we're going to justify this middle left. So I ran dtext, I hit J for justify, and I put ML for middle left. Now it's asking us to specify our point, which we have our scaffolding point right here. And now it's asking us to specify our height. And the height for this is going to be 1.5 millimeters, so 1.5. Our rotation will be 0. And in all caps, we're going to type in name with a colon. And all right, I'll run through all that one more time. I'll start with the square scaffolding here. So I did a rectangle. I set this as my start point, and then I went 2 by -2 because I have to go down. So that gave me a scaffolding point here. I can now run my dtext command. We hit justify for middle, ML for middle left. I selected this as my point. Our size was 1.5, rotation 0, and I just typed in name with a colon, and enter twice gets you out of that command. How do you do these dots here? What? You hit J for justify. So I'll do this again here. I'm doing dtext, hitting enter, and now looking at my command line here, we want to hit our J for justify, and then we're going to punch in ML for middle left. All right, we're done with our scaffolding, so I'm going to delete that. And then now what I want to do is I want to take this name here, and I'm just going to copy it to my other boxes here, and then we're just going to edit the text. That'll make our lives a little bit easier here. So I'm going to click on name. I'm going to hit CO for copy, so we're going to copy that. And then the point that I actually want to set as my base point is actually this point right here. So everyone see where my mouse is right here? So I'm going to click this point, and what's nice about that is now I can go over and click that same point on my next box, and it'll automatically place it there without having to do all that scaffolding and everything again. So I'm going to repeat that with all 4 of my boxes. I'm going to rename these. So this one is scale. Type here. And then the next one is date. And this one is title. So we have name over here, we have title here, we have date here, and we have scale here. And all of those are the same as they are in our sample here. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to add in the larger text in these boxes, and this is all justified middle center. So the first thing we want to do is find the center point, and I'm going to do that just by building a little bit of scaffolding here, going across. I'm just going to go zigzag here from box to box. Yeah, I just drew a line, and I snapped it to each corner there. And that way I can go to the midpoint of these lines, and I'll know that those are the centers of my circle. So we're going to delete those once we're done. And we're going to run our dtext command again. This time we're going to justify middle center. So J for justify, MC for middle center. And our middle point is going to be, I'll start here with name. And what I'm going to do, I'll zoom in a little bit for you. So I'm just looking around for the midpoint on my line, which means I'm going to get a triangle. So I'm going to kind of slowly go towards my middle. And there I found my triangle, so that's where I'm going to click. And our height for this text is going to be 4, I believe. Yep, 4. Yep, rotation will be 0. And the first one, you're going to put your name with your last name first. So you go last name, comma, first. Now don't put last first. You're putting your last name and then your first name. All caps. It's fine. Or you can do lowercase. Doesn't matter. If you have any lowercase letters, you just want to make sure that your first letter of your name is capitalized. All right, and just like we did with our labels, I'm going to hit enter twice to end that. I'm going to click on our object here, and I'm going to hit CO for copy. And this time I'm going to grab our object from the center point. So this is that same midpoint in our line there. And I'm just going to look around, and this will be kind of tricky here. But I'm looking for that same triangle. So there's my triangle, which means I've got the midpoint there. I'll go over to date. Same thing. I'm looking for my triangle. There it is. And same thing for scale. Where is it here? There it is. Okay, so all we've done here is we've copied the same thing that we did in our first box and all of our boxes. And now we're done with our scaffolding. So just to be neat and tidy, I'm going to clean that up now since we don't need it anymore. And the first thing I'm going to edit is scale because that's the easiest. So I'm just going to double click to edit it. I'm going to hit delete. And we're going to do 1::1. What that means is our drawing is at a 1:1 scale, or proportional. So 1 millimeter on your paper will equal 1 millimeter in real life. Hit enter. Now I'm going to click on date, and we're going to do something a little bit different here. We're going to delete what's written there. And this part gets a little tricky, so I want to make sure, this part gets a little tricky. So I want to make sure everybody follows along. So you want to be at this point. What we're doing is we're going to right-click right on this point. And you got to kind of move your cursor to where you get the cursor editing tool. And we're going to go to Insert Field. So I'll leave that up there. So you'll right-click, and you'll click on Insert Field.
Right on the little flash.
Yep. And you should get a screen that looks like this. So what we can do with CAD, and this is just to make things go a little bit faster for you in the future, so we're always looking to see what we can do to be more efficient and save time. So what this will do is we can go to category, date, and time. And we'll just go with create date. Should be fine. And we're going to select this option right here. So our field category was date and time. The field name was create date. And the format, I selected the second option down, which is going to give us kind of the shortest format that we can for our date. Exactly. And, yep. And you click OK, you'll get something that looks like this, just a bunch of dashes. And that's totally normal. What that's going to do is whenever you save your file, it's automatically going to punch in that date. And if you already have a date, don't worry. As long as it's a current date, that should be fine. So that way you don't have to constantly go in and be updating your date all the time. Same thing now with our title.
The height is 4. And rotation 0.
So we're done. We're done with our date. Now we're going to go and we're going to edit our title.
Inside that.
So I've double-clicked on my title, and I've deleted the text that's there. And I've right-clicked,
Then insert field.
and we've gone to Insert Field.
You're gonna say like this?
Yeah, it'll stay like that for now. And what we're going to do here is click on Document. Why don't we do uppercase? File name is what we want. File name, uppercase, file name only. And so I'll leave this up for a little bit, make sure everybody gets this because this part's important. So to recap on what I've done, I've erased the text that was in my title field. I've inserted a field. I've gone to the category of document. I've selected file name. I've selected uppercase. I've selected file name only. And I've selected display file extension. I had that unchecked. So all that's important. Okay, we are almost done. I want to make sure everybody's got those two steps done correctly.
That's a scale. 1.
And then we'll do the final step, which is perhaps the most complicated of all. Now again, the reason I'm doing this so slow and together in class, boy, that was quick.
Drawing 1, should you just name it? Drawing 1?
What you want to do is do a save as. Save as, and your file type is DWT. And we're saving this as millimeter template.
Then we should put MM template.
Yep, MM template. You're hitting save, you're hitting OK, and you're done. That's the file you submit.